What I'm going to do for the rest of this session is, I know that we're at the end of a long day, so I'm going to try to keep this part brief. Now, I'm going to save some of the best practices and things until tomorrow. We have a nice period tomorrow morning that we're going to be doing some things. Today, what I'm going to talk to you about, what I'm going to finish off today with, is I'm going to finish off today with coming attractions. Okay. Now, this might be something that, ooh, we're all here for the coming attraction. Maybe not. But I'm going to show you them anyway. That's part of what I'm going to talk about. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is, EstimateRocket. EstimateRocket has this great reporting schema where you can do it by different periods, and you can see the sales by and the completed estimates and the closing ratio and all of that. These are some top-notch reports. Now, some of the things that we've expanded on is we've expanded on some of these to go graphical. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my dashboard here, and this is actually in production. You can get at this. We're still polishing up quite a few of the things, so it's not. We haven't put an actual link in the product. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the end here, and I'm going to type in insights. Right? Hit return. That's going to take me into a graphical representation of a whole bunch of things that are happening within EstimateRocket. Now, you default to the current quarter that you're in, and I don't want to show the data for the current quarter. We're still kind of early in the current quarter. We're only a month into the current quarter. I'm going to toggle back into Q4 of 2024. There's a little bit more substantial setup stuff in here. Oh, can't see my screen. Because I'm not screen sharing. All right. Yeah, my fault on there. It is the end of a long day. The end of a long day for me too. Anyway, so let's go back through. I'm going to take insights right out of here, and I'm going to go back into EstimateRocket. Back in, I'm going to show you how to load that up directly. Okay. So here we are. We're at the main dashboard. I'm going to type in. Sorry about that. Indiscretion. Typing in insights. Okay, what that happens is that loads up the graphical representation, and per what I said is you have the ability to change the quarters here. I'm going to go back into Q4 of 2024. So that's that's all well and good. So I'm going to explain what some of these things represent. So what we have here is we have a top estimators report. It's top estimators by total sales. So again, here's our very creative estimating schema, or our naming schema for our employees: Estimator 1, Estimator 2. Okay, you can sort by total sales to see the top ones. You can sort by estimator, right? So there are your top estimators based on sales. And as we know from our main reporting, a sale is an invoice. So this is going to be based on invoice dates of projects. So that's the data that we're seeing there. Now, the next thing that we have is we have our top items report. So the top items report is going to be, okay, what have I sold? Default that you fall into here with your total sales being at the top number, but you can sort by any one of these. If I sold some foam, I did some cabinets, the count of sales you can sort by. There's 110 different times that I sold interior painting services with 279 hours sold. Okay, so you get the idea on there. You can do a lot of sorting in here. The other thing that you have that I didn't mention, you can do the quarters, but you can also focus this down to a specific month if you'd like to. Okay, the month being the start and end times. You put those in and then do the search. You can see the data that you want for the period that you want. Now, revenue by tag. This is one that that within EstimateRocket you can tag things. You can tag things with with certain things, the type of work that's being done. I have interior, residential, and demo. So those are the tags that have been used. There's certain key elements in getting these things to show as well. So if I go here into the dashboard and I go into settings and into my company information, these are my reporting tags. So I enter those. Now, you might have a whole bunch of other tags, but these are the ones that are going to show on the report. What you put in right here into this slot, that's going to show here in the insights. Okay. Now, the reason that I don't see something for all of them is I don't have projects tagged with those others. Easy enough. Now, you can. The great thing about this is you can hover over any one of these elements. You can see what the total revenue was. Revenue equals what the dollars sold were. Okay, so that's your revenue. That is the total dollars of the project. Now, I scoot down a little bit further into the profit by. This is the profit by row. You have the profit by zip code. The zip code, again, you have the hover help on that. You can hide any of these zip codes that you want by clicking up in here. Okay, but this is your profit. Now the profit's going to be a moving number. The profit is going to be what your estimated profit was, and you're going to be continuing to add expenses. So that profit is could continue. That could change, because that's not like, here's what the project total was, or here's how many interior painting hours I sold. This is something that's based on expenses being added. Okay, so your entry into here, into this quarter, these are projects completed in this quarter. So if you have any things that might have expenses being added a little bit later, early into January for the December projects, for example, you could see changes to these overall values. Now you also have profit by tag. Profit by tag also has the hover help. It's going to tell you what the different profit margins are. Same rules as the profit by zip code. The profit by tag, however, is going to be very similar to your revenue by tag, but it's only reporting profit instead. So you can see what the different ones are. You can hide them if you don't want to see them. So that is the profit by tag. Again, these are projects that are completed in this quarter, and it's showing you the profitability. Now, the things that you can do is you can compare to in EstimateRocket, if you're in the main reporting area and you look at your profitability report here, you can search for some tags for that last quarter, and you'll be able to compare those numbers versus what's in Insights. Okay, but Insights is just a nice graphical representation of that. Okay, and then you have the profit by source. Guess what? We've talked about profit in the two other ones. So I'm not going to tell you what profit is, because you know what it is. It's the difference between your, this is the expenses. Your estimated profit margin minus the expenses is your actual profit. Okay, but this one's by source, so that in any given project, you're adding a source to the project. Okay, the source might be, this lead came from Google, this lead came from wherever. So this is a little bit building off of what Nick is talking about. Nick was talking about you keep track of the things based on how they've come in. Super, you have the ability to do that in EstimateRocket. At the project level, you can add a source into that project, and you're going to see the profit by source showing you those different things with the hover help. Here's my radio source, my referrals, my online. Okay, so you see the different ones. Again, this is also going to be based on, if I go back here into my main settings, I go into settings, company settings, and this is where I see my sources. Okay, so it's going to pull the source, it's going to take the sources you have here, compare to what you have on projects, and then give you that report. All right, so those are the top couple rows. We have one more row of another set of 3 graphs here. And what we have in the bottom left is we have hours by work code. Hours by work code is if you have your team punching and you have set in the time tracking section, you have specific work types set. That's what's going to be captured here. So you see interior, we have plumbing, we have exterior. We also have none. Sometimes internal people punch with no work code. That's one way that you can get a value in here. The other way you can get a value in here is if you expense hours. Okay, so if you have put expenses in for hours and those don't have a work code, you just absolutely can't add it, those are going to show in here as none as well. Okay, so this is the hours by work code. Now, moving into the bottom center, and you have your hover helps on these as well, where you can hover over, you can see what the hours were. You also have budgeted versus actual hours. So this is for projects completed in that final quarter. This is going to give you the budgeted hours on all the projects versus the hours worked on those projects. Okay, so it's going to help you compare. These should balance out in a real world scenario, but that you're going to have to be able to look at. And then lastly, we have the accepted hours by estimator. This is going to be similar to the sales by estimator, the top estimators, but this is based on the quantity of hours accepted. And you have all the controls on this that you had on the others, or you can float. You can sort these. Now, with regard to the top estimators, let's say that you had 7 estimators. Only your top 5 are going to show. With the top items, your top 25 items are going to show. It's not going to show your full list of items. We're developing a report that will have your full item sales list that will be released at some point. So that is the insights or the advanced reporting in EstimateRocket. This is going to give you a real-time look of the data in your organization. You're going to be able to see the profit by and various other important financial aspects. We focused on the profit by based on one of the things that was mentioned earlier. We focus a lot more on the profitability. In EstimateRocket, you can do that. That's one of the big differentiators between EstimateRocket and some of the others. But I believe the statement was, I think it was Corwin that said it, he's like, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Okay, and he said cash is king, right? So, but a lot of the things that you're going to see in EstimateRocket, the focus is on profitability because that's the sanity check. That is the, okay, yeah, I made $2 million, but did you spend $2.2 million to make $2 million? So this is the profitability is going to help you understand what your real-time profit is for your organization, and this is going to give you a nice graphical representation of that. Okay, so that is one of the coming attractions. This one is, there's a couple of things that we need to polish up. This is something that you can actually look at this right now in your account by simply typing in insights at the end. When you're at the dashboard, type in a slash and then insights, and you'll be able to see that data, change the quarters, see how that's going to look for you. Really important to set up your tags, because if you are using tags and you want your tag reports to look good, set up your tag list. Okay, so that is the insights part. Now, a couple of the other new coming attractions are, we talked earlier about the AI assist on the email templates. Okay, now what we're going to be adding in the coming quarter is we're going to be adding an email assist, but in a couple of other areas. And this is also very close. The insights is, you can have that right now. You can use that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over again to another screen, and I'm going to bring something over to show you. So I'm bringing over like another account, some other information. So this is a fully vetted project. It's actually a painting project where you have the scope of work, you have the interior painting, the different sections, some exterior painting. This is really this is a house that I guess needed some painting. But you get the idea. You have the scope of work. You have the different areas of the interior project. You have the different aspects of the exterior project. What happens here is that I'm going to talk about when adding an invoice, we now have the ability to use an AI assistant in writing this invoice. So if I explode out the AI assistant, invoice name, you're going to recognize this. It's the same invoice options that we have in the current invoicing. And then right now below, you can choose what you want to have: short summary, group summary, full detail, linear item summary, and you have a lot of options here. Style, tone, you have your selections, additional details if you care to put them in. You can also format for a QuickBooks description if you're going to have that information go over into QuickBooks. And then these are some of the standard fields that you have in the current create invoice thing as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the bookkeeping section here, and I'm going to show you some of the things that came out of this. So if you've used the EstimateRocket invoices, you know that the invoices can be they don't have a ton of detail in them. So that's this importance here. We're going to be able to. So this is the line item name summary. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We view the invoice, and we see, okay, so here's our line item summary list. And so that's what we've gotten out of this. Is it pulled out the line item summaries from the project, and it's put those here into this invoice. And we'll go into the full detail invoice. So let's take a look at that one. So this is going to allow you, these invoicing options are going to allow you to present a much more detailed invoice to your client, especially if you're doing, the final invoice will have the full project information, but if you want to have, invoices deposit invoices and progress invoices, you can put those in. So here's the full description. This has pulled everything out, and this is actually right in the body of the invoice. Okay, it's talking about the pantry painting, the half bath painting, the exterior painting, the paint entire home with the pressure washing. Gives you that full detail here in the invoice. Okay, then we have the group summary invoice. I'll view this invoice. So this again is going to be a little bit more scope of work. So this is going to give you a different aspect of what's at the line item level, but it's pulling that in and giving you that information here in the invoice. Okay, and these are all created based on the different prompts that we have. It's obviously part of it's based on the fact that you have a good set of details in your line item list. Like if your line item list is you don't put good details in there, this isn't going to be able to help you. This can't turn. It's not going to do magic for you. So you have to have a well-formatted project in order to get good information out of this. Then let's pop into the customer portal. So we can see these in the customer portal here too. The customer is going to see all of that detail that was showing in the main invoices here as well. Group summary invoice. If I view this, I think that's something a little bit different. So there's all kinds of different options that you can do here. You're getting a lot more information, a lot more detail into your client's hands. So it's not just like, hey, you owe me $7,000, pay up, right? It's $7,000, and here's what we did. So there's more detail there that's going to give your client a better feeling for what work has been done and things like that. Summary invoice. Let's view that one. Okay. So these are some of your options. Again, this is something that's well along the way. This I would think would certainly be in Q1 of 2025 here. So that's going to be very, very soon. Now the other AI. So the invoice part, that's the one that's the big hitter. You're gonna see that all over the place. The other place that we have things for AI is we have that in the email creation area. Now before I showed you that the AI assistant in the email template creation. But let's say now that we're in the early parts, you want to create an estimate, you're creating an estimate email for your client, you have the AI assistant here as well. Okay, you can choose the type of email that you want, set the expectations for the price, things like that, set your expectations for the project time. So those are the selections of the email type you have. Show additional details. If option, you can actually paste in an email or message to respond to. If you need to, you can suggest dates for times and meetings. And then you have, very similar to what we saw on the email template, is you have the word limit. The word limit 100, 200, 300, style or tone, whatever style or tone you want to have, and then you click the generate button and it generates a new message for you. Okay, so those could be ones that you could put additional information in about the client you're trying to sell to them, whatever. Click on those things, the email assistant, and again, it's the same thing as before. We like the things that the AI does, but we have to make sure that it's going to represent what we represent well too. So after you generate, we have the disclaimer there. Please take a look, make sure that things look good to you. Okay, and again, you can generate as many of these as you want. If you generate one, AI assistant encountered a problem. All right, well, I'm not going to dwell on that. This is still in testing, but those are the options that you're going to have there. You're going to have the ability to click, generate 2 or 3 or 4, however many you want, until you see something that you like or something that you can make some minor modifications to. Yeah. Okay. So that's still, again, this is still in development. So there's a few things being polished off on this, but this is something that again is going to be released very soon. But those are the coming attractions. Probably the big one is the insights part. The insights part is something that, just more reporting. Better reporting, giving you a better look at your business, that quick look at your business, the look at the line items that you're selling. The profit by zip code. So this could help you with regard to some of the things that Nick has talked about as well, that he just got done talking about with, okay, where are we going to market to? You see your profit by zip code. Now, you also have those things. You have some similar things in EstimateRocket in the reporting area. A lot of people don't realize that the closing ratio report has some group by, and you could group this by estimator to be an accountability report, like what did different people sell and how, how successful were they. But also, if you can do this by source, so you can see where your different projects are coming in from, and you can also do this by billing zip. So that's going to help you do some of the same things there, is to figure out where things are being, where things are coming in from that are the most successful. All right. All right. So it's really some of the things that are happening here is it's really, really important to, and I know that in our test account we're not exactly as religious about this as we could be, but when you have projects, it's super important in the project creation stage to put a source into that project. Okay, this happens to be, putting a source in is going to help those reports to populate the right way. Putting tags in, and the tags go here into the internal notes. Putting tags in addition to the setup of the tags, is going to super help those reports to look good for your business. Okay. Now that's I didn't talk for very long there. Are there any questions about those? I don't want to. I kind of feel like I was talking fast, and I know the questions are being fielded here. But let's see. So these are some things. These are some things that are happening with regard. These are some of the things happening with regard to the new features. The Insights is already available for you. We have a few things to polish before that's going to be finalized, and we have the other things. We have other things that are happening as well. So it's super important in the setup. Super important in the setup to go into the settings, the company info, to have your reporting tags there. That's gonna, if you're having problems loading Insights, put some reporting tags in. Make sure that it'll load, because I think it should load with none, but that's going to make it struggle to load, because then we put together like a default. Well, actually, I think it says in here we're not going to load this because you don't have anything set up. So those are the new features that are coming, Q1, and certainly other things coming beyond that, but not things that I'm going to be talking about with you today. And because we're at the end of a long day today, I'm going to choose not to go back to my original list and talk about. I do have one more thing to talk about in new features. It's the API, but the API is not a late in the afternoon thing to talk about, not even for me. So I will talk about the API improvements tomorrow, as well as a number of best practices and hacks. And from there, we'll complete our day. But what I'm going to do is, as far as today goes, I'm going to call my session right now done, and we can bring in the team to do a wrap up of day one, and then we'll look forward to what we're going to do in day two.
Well done, Fred.
Thank you.
Excellent
Outstanding,
job.
Fred.
You must need a glass of water.
Oh, yeah, yes. I was thinking of something perhaps a little stronger, maybe with honey.
Yes. There you go. Oh, a cup of tea. That will work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you, Fred, and thank you, everybody, for being here today. And we're really looking forward to another great day tomorrow. Remember, bring your questions. I'd also just challenge everybody, take a couple minutes after you disconnect and just reflect. And, is there something you heard today, or a couple things that you heard today that you can put into action for your company, and it makes it all worthwhile. So thank you all again. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. sharp.
Woohoo!
Everybody have a great night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.